Just connecting to Facebook. Once we get that started, we can start chapter 5 in Tanya. Second. Okay. Actually, today we're sitting inside, not outside. See,
boy, we'd have a tough time.
Good judgment.
I'd have to build a campfire outside. The Boy Scout skills would come in handy.
Okay, everybody. Good morning. As we go to the Tanya, as I started off, I apologize for the mix-up. There is a class. There's no. Now we're on. Hear me clearly on Zoom?
Perfect, Rabbi. And
okay.
Your staff sent out an email just 20 minutes ago.
I told them to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much that I was able to stay on.
So, my friends, we're learning Tanya together. This is a beautiful teaching of the Alter Rebbe, revolutionized the concept of the way a Jew should look at Torah and mitzvahs. The way a Jew should look at his relationship, his responsibility, what he's on the world for, and that is to to have a relationship with God. That's what we need to look at the whole Torah and the mitzvahs as a relationship with God. Besides, most of us look at it as an obligation, a responsibility. Really, it's a relationship with the Eibishter. It's a relationship with God. And we have a relationship with God on many levels. Basically, Alter Rebbe introduced us, we have a relationship with God in 3 concepts: machshava, dibur, or maisa. In our thought, in our speech, and in our action. And we are to, in those 3 levels alone, thought, speech, and action, there are many different, many concepts within that concept itself. But the general concept, thought, speech, and action. In the Gemara, you have the 2 expressions, Talmud or Maisa. What is more important? The Gemara asks the question, what is more important? Learning, Achshava and Dibur, or Maisa, the concept of action? So the Gemara answers, learning. Learning is more important. Why? Because learning brings to action. So that's how the Gemara puts the 2 together. Learning is more important because learning brings to action. Why? Because Maisa Hua Iker, as the Gemara says, the most important thing is action. But over here, the Alter Rebbe explains there's something we say in our davening every day, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. The learning of Torah surpasses them all, right? So he put a foundation, number 1. In chapter 4, he established a concept, which is an important concept, and that is that Torah and mitzvahs are the wisdom and the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? He's explained that when it comes to the difference between Gan Eden, even Gan Eden or the upper worlds, and the concept of this world, what is the difference between paradise and this world? Difference is, as the Mishnah says, it says in Pirkei Avos, Yafa sha'achas b'tshuva ma'asim tevim. It's better 1 mitzvah in this world than 1,000 years in the Gan Eden. So in paradise. So you would ask the question, why? How is it possible that it's better in this world, in a world of darkness, in a world of struggle, in a world of tzaddis? Why would it be better? Everybody's hoping to get to Gan Eden, you would think. Why would it be better, one mitzvah in this world than 1,000 years in Gan Eden? So the Alter Rebbe says like a simple meaning, simple explanation. Because in Gan Eden, it's all about the concept of intellect. In Gan Eden, what is the reward of Gan Eden? The light of intellect. So the more intellect you receive in this world, the greater delight you're going to have in Gan Eden. But even all the intellect, the greatest intellectual people in the world, meaning even souls without bodies and angels that are spiritual and godly. So they are total spirituality, don't understand God. Nobody understands God. Even the greatest angels, even the greatest souls that are in paradise, even the souls of Atzilus, the world of emanation, the highest level of souls that can be in Gan Eden, in paradise, can never truly grasp HaKadosh Baruch Hu, can never touch God. So they have a great delight in wisdom. There's no question about it. As we all know, wisdom is the concept of wisdom is a great delight, and the wisdom in this world is a great delight. Surely the wisdom in paradise is a great delight, but you'll never know that you'll never touch the essence. You'll never touch God. And that's why even the malachim, the expression of the angels is, as they are in heaven, in paradise, in Gan Eden, they say, I am a Kadosh. Where is the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. God is separate from everything. He's above and beyond. So even in the spiritual world, he's above and beyond. But the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs is over here, you touch God. Over here, God comes down. The wisdom of God, the way it's in his wisdom, comes down in a pasuk and a chumash. Comes down in a simple mitzvah. You touch HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You actually touch God in this world. So by putting on tefillin, when I put on tefillin today, I push it, the Eibush is surrounding me. God surrounded me. Did I see the godliness? Maybe not. But it doesn't make a difference. It's irrelevant. The concept of touching God, I've touched God. When I open a chumash and I learn a pasuk, I am touching HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Alter Rebbe is going to explain it right now. How the pasuk, the concept of grasping God, that's the point over here. Tfisa. Alter Rebbe goes in the word over here, tfisa, to grasp God. To grasp, tfisa, apprehension. That in the upper world, you don't have apprehension. While in this world, you have a concept of tfisa, you apprehend it. You grab it. You actually take a hold of it. It's an amazing thing. And Alter Rebbe gave the simple analogy of the hugging of the king. He ended off last week of the hugging of the king. That when you hug a king, it doesn't make a difference whether he's wearing one garment or he's wearing thousands of garments. You're still, as long as the king is in the garments, you're hugging the king. So where can we hug the king? Is in this world. Every mitzvah we do, we hug the king, or the king hugs us. Every learning of Torah, we hug the king, and the king hugs us. Because why? Because this mitzvah, even as it comes in a physical thing, is the wisdom and the will of God, which is God. God and his wisdom cannot be separated. You can't separate God from his wisdom. If you could separate God from his wisdom, then you're right. The wisdom is only a ray of God. But if the wisdom is God, then by surrounding God's wisdom, you have touched the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You touched the essence of God. So in essence, you want to put it in simple terms. In heaven, you have revelation. Over here, you have connection. Over here in this world, you can connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu, while in the upper world, you're going to have revelation. So therefore, there's no rush to have revelation. Everyone said, our avodah is not to come close to God, but to bring God close to us. It's a whole different reality, right? Come too close to God, you lose your identity. You bring God closer to us, then God can humble himself and come down into a physical world. As the Alter Rebbe said at the end of chapter 4, that where do you see the greatness of God? You see where his humility is. So God humbled himself, and he came down to a simple word, and he came down to a simple mitzvah, physical mitzvah, and that's God's humility. You with me, everybody? This is a revolutionary concept. This is truly a whole different attitude that you should create in your mind and in your way of life, that this thing should change the way you look at everything in the Torah mitzvahs. If you understand this well, you would have a whole different, whose voice? You would have a whole different attitude to Yiddishkeit. You will have a whole different attitude to why you do a mitzvah. And now the Alter Rebbe is going to tell you why you should run every day and learn Torah. It's truly beautiful that we have people sitting here and people sitting on Zoom, and they come to learn Torah. Why are you coming to learn? Why you're coming to learn and Torah direct? Why are you coming to learn? Why are we always running to learn? We run to learn sometimes more than we run to do a mitzvah. We run to learn. Why are Jews so into running to the aspect of learning? And many of us, we might say because we like chachma, we like wisdom. But the truth is you can learn many wisdoms out there, which will give you delight. Why do we learn to learn Torah? Why do we run to learn Torah? And the truth is, we're running to learn Torah, as the Alter Rebbe is going to soon say, is because there's no greater connection for our neshama with God than the learning of Torah, than acquiring the wisdom, even one drop of wisdom that you're going to acquire today, or every day they open a Chumash or a Gemara or any another book of Torah you learn. There's no greater connection that your soul receives than this learning that you're going to learn. And that's why your neshama is pushing you to open up a Chumash and learn Chumash, even to learn simple Chumash, simple pasuk, because there's no greater connection my neshama has with God than learning that pasuk. And the Alter Rebbe is going to explain it. That's the beauty. Alter Rebbe is going to explain the beauty of learning Torah. You ready? Chapter 5. Let us explain further and fully elucidate the expression of tfisa, apprehension. In the words of Elijah, no thought can apprehend you. But on the other hand, it is apprehended through learning Torah. On one hand, we say no thought can apprehend you. And then that means if I'm going to understand God through my own thought, no thought can apprehend me. And the truth is, that's why even in Gan Eden, it's my thought. The Torah is in this world. Torah was given to this world. So everything that I have in Gan Eden now is what's in my thoughts. It's in my psyche. So that's why the more I learn Torah now, the more I'll have in Gan Eden. But ultimately, what I have in Gan Eden is my thought. And therefore will never be the essence. Now, it's not my thought. I open a Chumash, I open up a Tanya, I open a Gemara, and I learn what the Gemara says. Now I'm trying to comprehend what the Gemara says in my thought. Or I'm trying to comprehend the pasuk of the Torah, the simple verse of the Torah, the way my thought comprehends it. So the Alter Rebbe is going to explain what's the greatness of this concept. That my thought, the way my thought is in this world, apprehends the Torah's thought. Because that's what I'm coming to learn. I'm coming to learn the Torah's thought. What is the Torah's thought? What is the verse? What is the halacha? What is the law? That's what I'm trying to comprehend. I'm not trying to comprehend my thought. I'm trying to comprehend the Torah's thought. So think about it a second, Alter Rebbe says. If we use our thought to comprehend the Torah's thought, which God gave me permission, not that God gives me permission, God asks me, learn Torah. I gave the Torah to you. Open up the Chumash. Read the pasuk. I beg you to read the pasuk. Right? I want you to comprehend. I just want you to read it and just not understand it. Understand the pasuk. Now, when an intellect conceives and comprehends a concept, so when I read the pasuk and I understand it, we're all smart people. We understand what we're reading. We're not just reading something that we don't understand. There's no cryptic language. Every pasuk is understandable. Now you can always say it's deeper. You want to go deeper. We have to go deeper. Right now, it's just to understand the pasuk, the verse. God gave everybody an opportunity to learn the verse, right? The Frierdiker Rebbe begged everybody to learn the chitas every day, to learn a pasuk, to learn a group of psukim. Today, from the beginning till Sheni. You should learn the pasuk and apprehend it, comprehend it. If you need Rashi, Rashi will give you the simple interpretation to the verse, right? And the intellect grasps the concept and encompasses it. What happens? The pasuk to my seichel, with my intellect, I grasp it. I understand the pasuk. I can right now imagine the pasuk, right? I can repeat the pasuk. If I learned it today, I can repeat the pasuk. That means it's in my mind. I have grasped the pasuk. I understood the pasuk. I know every word in the pasuk. and I can repeat it. I can repeat it even without seeing the pasuk. Such an amazing concept that the Eibishter gave, first of all, the mind, right? I can have a book. The book is outside of me. And now I am with my mind. I imagine the book. The book is not here anymore. I don't see the book anymore, right? The book can be, but it's in my mind. Now the book is not in my mind, right? I can't put the physical book in my mind, but the book is in my mind. The Eibishter gave the capability for me to surround the book, right? And I can now give you dimensions, the color, depth, the value, the words, right? Beautiful. The Eibishter gave me a mind that my mind is the only thing in my existence. That I push with my mind, I can surround something totally. And if like a painter, right? A painter, his painting is in his mind. The whole painting is in his mind. He already has the painting from the beginning to end. The sculptor exception, right? So that's it. That's the beauty. The Torah says, take the pasuk, learn it, surround it, understand it, imagine it. It's an amazing power of that a human being was given intellect, that he has the capability to take any concept that he wants, surround it, imagine it, think of it. You can walk away from the thing and you still have it in your mind.
A different pasuk, the same pasuk can mean different things.
Understand?
So
It's not a problem. That's not the point. The point is the simple meaning of the pasuk. We're not talking its meaning. The simple pasuk. Everybody can learn the pasuk. Today in the parsha, Vayigash Elav Yehuda, and Yehuda came forward to him. I say the pasuk. I know the pasuk. It's in my mind. I even can think of I never saw Yehuda and Yosef in my life, but I can imagine Yehuda and Yosef coming together. I can imagine what's happening. And you're right. And then I can go deeper. And then what the meaning of the pasuk. I'm not even talking about that. The pasuk, the simple pasuk, is graspable. It's something that I can put in my mind. It's something that I can say. It's something that I can repeat. And it's something I should. God wanted that the pasuk should become part of my mind. That's what God wanted. You should read it 10 times a day, 100 times. That's why in the Gemara they used to learn something 100 times. So that should become something that they, in their mind, it's not something that they have to go back to the book. It's something that's engraved in their mind. And you don't have to be prolific mind to grasp, to learn something 100 times and to be able to be part of your mind. You don't have to be the genius of the generation. Every one of us can simply become, the pasuk can be in our mind. Which other thing can you do like that? Which other thing in life that the Eibishter gave us a mind, a seichel, an intellect, that we can take our intellect and simply become part of that situation? That's a good storyteller, like a good storyteller, right?
for me, case is a good story.
Yeah, good. But if you're a good storyteller, why are you good? Why some people have a good storyteller? Why some people are good stories, some people are not? But some people are good storytellers because by them the story is like it happened to them. That's why a good storyteller, every story happened to them, and they add to the story. Everybody has to make it more juicier. Then you got to make it more exciting. That's a good storyteller. That's a chachma. It's the way they understand the story, the way they comprehend the story, the way they express it. That's the truth, like you said. We all learn the Torah, and the way we express it is different because everybody understands it a little different. And beautiful. We should all understand the Torah a little different because then it comes through. Yeah, the simple comes through our emotions. So some people are more emotional in this story. Some people are less emotional in this story. Some people like the stories of the Torah. Some people like the laws of the Torah. Whatever. That's not the point. The point over here is that the Eibishter gave us an intellect, and that intellect can grasp a concept and encompass it. This concept is in turn grasped enveloped and enclosed within that intellect. That's the beauty of intellect. Not only do I surround the verse surrounds me. We surround each other. We're like hugging with our intellectual capacity. We're hugging the verse, and the verse is hugging us. So that's the beauty of intellect. With an intellect which conceives and comprehends it. The mind, for its part, is also clothed with the concept at the time it comprehends and grasps within its intellect. For example, when a person understands and comprehends fully and clearly any halacha, so the Alter Rebbe himself is talking about Torah. So when a person learns a halacha, learns a Jewish law, he understands it. Whether it's in the Mishnah or in Gemara, so he opens up the Mishnah, he opens up the Shulchan Aruch, he reads the halacha, he understands it, he comprehends the halacha. That's what the halacha was given, the law was given, that I comprehend it. His intellect grasps it and encompasses it, and at the same time is clothed in it. Consequently, as the practical halacha is the wisdom and the will of God, for it was his will that when, for example, Reuven pleads in one way and Shimon in another way, the verdict as between them shall be thus and thus. That's the halacha of legal damages. So you learn halacha, for example, the Gemara. If Reuven cow gores Shimon's cow, and they have an argument, if it died because of the goring, or if Reuven says you owe me $100, for example, in Torah law, if Reuven says you owe me $100, and Shimon says I owe you $50.
They don't have this page. It's the office open.
No, it's on page. I have to flip it over.
No, it's on the other side.
Baruch Hashem, new technology can print on both sides. Just new technology. So right. So you understand. Torah says the law, Jewish law. It's only in Jewish law this concept of a maida b'miktsas, a person who says no witnesses self-understood to the transaction, no document. No, I come to you. I come to you. You come to me. You say you owe me $100, and I don't say I don't owe you nothing. I say I owe you $50. So that's in Torah law a maida b'miktsas. That so I was maida. I acknowledged 50%. So now the Torah law says that no. The Torah law says I have to make a vow that I only owe you 50%. And if I don't want to make the vow, I have to give you the $100. So it's an interesting law. If you came to me, you told me you owe me $100, and I told you I don't owe you a penny, right? Then the law is, if you want to take money out of me, possession is 99% of ownership. You want to take money out of me, you got to bring witnesses or bring a document. But if I tell you that I owe you 50, that's called a maida b'miktsas. So now I have to make a vow that I don't owe you, I only owe you 50.
You're assuming they're both Torah Jews. A guy can make a vow. And
That's why today we don't make vows.
Yeah.
So today in Jewish law, what would you have to do? You have to give them $100 because we don't make vows anymore. So today, if you come to me, say, I owe you $100, and I say I owe you $50, I have to give you the $100.
if you make a vow,
You can't make vows today. There's no vows in That's the vows you make that you're going to give charity. No, each other. You can't nullify vows into you. We don't make vows anymore. We say beli neder without any vow, without a vow. We're not making any.
About that $1 million that you owe me. About that $1 million that you owe me, are you going to pay me?
The mikveh is working now, so yeah. I'll have to give me if you come back in half an hour. I'll do it for you. Yeah, give me half an hour. So I'll turn it off. So there's no vows today. Well, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
About that $1 million that you owe me. Are you going to pay me?
The ante.
I don't owe you a penny. That's what I'm saying. I don't owe you a penny. So when somebody comes and tells you, I owe you $1 million, you say you don't owe nothing. You say I do owe, then you got a problem. So in Jewish law, if somebody comes and tells you, I owe you money. If it's not true, you say it's not true. But the second you say that it is true, but only halfway, then I have to pay. Then I have to today I can't make vows. So there's no vowing. The rabbis prohibit vows. And that's why you say bli neder today without a vow, because nobody should say vows. Nobody should vow anything anymore. You should say bli neder without a vow. I'm going to give a pledge. I'm going to give a donation, etc. Okay. So again, this is the law of Torah. We're not getting into the laws of vows over here. The point over here is that's a total law. It's total law. That if you even says it, now the truth is, this law might never happen to you. Maybe nobody will ever come to you and say, I owe you money. And you'll never have to say, I don't owe you the money, or I only owe you half. So why do I need to learn all these laws? Because that's God's wisdom. That's in the Torah. That's God made the mitzvahs as a Torah law. That God said, if Reuben says this and Shimon says this, that shall be the law. It's not the point over here whether it's going to happen or not. Point is to know God's wisdom. We learn Torah law to know God's wisdom, not to know what exactly, if it's going to happen or not going to happen. Will this law ever happen? Will this law not happen? That's not the point of learning Torah. The point of learning Torah is as much as wisdom I can acquire, I'm going to acquire. I mean, think about it. You learn Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Nobody's going to live the life of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Nobody has happened. Their life lived thousands of years ago, basically. So why would I learn a story? What is a story? No, because the Torah is telling us this story of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because in essence, we, in a way, could live their life. Their commitment can be our commitment. Their lifestyle might be a little different. Abraham was a Bedouin. We're not Bedouins anymore. We live in homes, Baruch Hashem. But the life, the way of life, the atmosphere, the commitment, the love of God, we all can have the same love of God and commitment, like Abraham and Isaac and Sarah and Rebecca and Rachel, Leah. We can have that kind of a commitment too. Doesn't have to change. That didn't have to change. So let's continue. So have occurred, as Alter Rebbe says, even should such litigation never have occurred, nor would it ever present itself in judgment, the connection with such future claims. Right? It's never going to happen. These laws. The laws of ox goring ox. We're not farmers anymore. We went out of the business of farming. We all became lawyers. So we're not going to have it. And doctors and accountants and rabbis. We're not into the farming business. I don't have a cow. You don't have a cow. My cow is never going to go your cow. Your cow is never going to go my cow. So why do I learn these laws? We don't have cows anymore. I mean, there's cows. We don't have, but me and you don't have cows anymore. Nevertheless, since it has been the will and the wisdom of the Holy One, blessed be He, that in the event of a person pleading this way and the other litigant pleading that way, the verdict shall be such and such. That's why we learn it. We learn it because that's God's wisdom. It's not important if it's going to happen or not going to happen. That's why we learn Torah. We learn Torah because we want to connect to the wisdom of God. It's not important. Yeah, let's say the law of a wayward son. There's a law of a wayward son. The Gemara says never happened. It's impossible to happen in a legal, physical way. And so it's a pasha in the Torah. It's a part of the Torah. So it means that in essence, the Gemara says this law never can happen. That can never happen.
Why is it there?
Because that's the wisdom of God. That's why it's there. That's actually the lesson. The lesson is just the wisdom of God. It's not important if it's going to happen or not. I always tell people that I went to yeshiva my whole life and never graduated. That's a problem. Today in society, we need to graduate. Why am I going to school for? I'm not going to graduate. I need to get the diploma. You're right. So law, that's a knowledge, comes to an end. I went to high school, I finished high school. I got my degree. It's important I got the degree. There's no graduation. Learning never ends. Connection with God never ends. So how is it, right? You're reading the Pasha. If you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you've been learning this week's Pasha 70 times already. Right? Never ending. Never ending. Never ending. It's never ending. That's the beauty. Because it's the wisdom of God. It's not, you're not out to get a diploma. You're not out to get a degree. So some students are hard to learn Torah because they think, oh, when is the end? When is the end? That's what the JLI came up with, like courses, right? Like this Tanya class. When is it began 20 years ago. This Tanya class, Sunday morning Tanya class, and we're still learning it. We're still in the same chapter.
30 years ago.
No, we're forward. It's never ending. Life is never ending. Learning is never ending because we are here to learn, connect to God. That's what we're here. That's what we came this Sunday morning. That's it. Never ending. That's why the Talmud starts off from what? What is the first page in the Talmud? And you know what the first page in the Talmud is? What is the first page called in the Talmud? Base. There's no Aleph. It starts page 2. Because there's no beginning. There's no beginning. There's no beginning. It starts base. It starts page 2. Where's page 1? Where's page 1? This is page 2. It's a continuation. There's no beginning. No beginning. There's no end. It continues. It never ends. It never, why? Because it's the wisdom of God. Wisdom of God has no beginning and no end. It's a continuation. We continue to learn. Because again, if we're looking to accomplish something, we in Torah also have that thing. You need to know the law. So they have to come to an end. There has to come to an end, right? All right, when you need to know the law, what to do and not to do, so you have to come to an end. But that's one aspect of Torah, to know the law. But in the concept of Torah, to connect to the wisdom of God, there's no beginning and there's no end.
But what's important is the person who's learning Torah today, the same person who learned Torah yesterday.
That's another concept. That's another concept. Many concepts. Over here, we're talking in this concept. I'm connecting to the wisdom of God, where it has no beginning, has no end. The purpose is, it has no purpose, per se. It's pashut, the concept of my connection, my relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on the level of wisdom. And my wisdom should never end to connect to God in any level, in any situation. It should never end.
It has
Continue to grow and learn. What?
It has a constant better.
Whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it, you can say it in any kind of way. I have no problem with that. It's the main thing where we get the same concept. Over here, the concept is our connection with God, our relationship with God, and it never ends, this relationship and this connection, and it never should end. Now, therefore, when a person knows and comprehends with his intellect such a verdict, in accordance to the law that is set out in the Mishnah, Gemara, Code of Jewish Law, he has thus comprehended, grasped, and encompassed with his intellect the will and the wisdom of the Holy One, blessed be He, whom no thought can grasp. On one hand, no thought can grasp, but I'm not trying to grasp the essence of the thought. I'm not trying to grasp the essence I'm trying to grasp what the law says. If I'm trying to grasp the essence of the wisdom of God, I'm telling you, no, you'll never comprehend it. But I'm not trying to grasp. I'm trying to grasp the simple verse. I'm trying to grasp the simple law, and that I could grasp because the God came down into the simple verse. God came down into the simple law, and that I could grasp. And if I grasp it, then, and I understand it, I comprehend it, I have now touched HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have now surrounded God. In a mitzvah, I don't surround God. While in learning Torah, I do surround God. Because if each and every one of us can understand what I just said, I've surrounded my brain, surrounded the concept. So I've not only clothed myself with God, I have garmented God, so to say. I surrounded God. I grabbed him, touched him. When they are clothed in the laws that they set out for us. Simultaneously, the intellect is also clothed in them. The divine will and wisdom is clothed in them. So therefore, you have to, the Alter Rebbe says, you got to imagine this. Imagine that when I learn something and I get it, it's not important if I get to the essence of it. I got it. I got it. I understand what it means that Yehuda came to Yosef. I got it. You don't have to be a genius. A 5-year-old can get it. So surely I can get it. Yehuda, the verse says, and Yehuda came forward to Yosef. Now, trust me, in Kabblah, there's a lot of interpretations of Yehuda and Yosef, how they come together, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of spirituality in it. Trust me. But the simple verse means there's a guy named Yehuda. He's standing up for his brother Benjamin, and he comes in front of Yosef, who was that time the leader of Egypt, and he confronts him. That's it. That's simple.
The brothers saw Yosef at a distance, and they saw him at a distance. They're there.
But that's what it is.
But that isn't what it says. They saw them into the future.
Okay, but that's the shooting. They saw it in the distance. That's it. So the simple meaning is they saw him at distance. Now you want to go into deeper meanings, you can go in deeper meanings. But that's a problem. We say, oh, the verse. Some people think the whole Torah is a deeper meaning. No, the verse means simple. That's what some people say. Oh, there was no such thing as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's all philosophical. It's all spiritual concepts. No, it's not. There was a physical guy called Abraham. There's a physical guy called Jacob. There's a physical guy called Yehuda. There was a physical guy called Joseph. And these are not concepts. These are simple story. It's a simple. No, he's true too. But we can never go away. We never can go away from the simple story. Why does it? But why wouldn't there be a deep? Because God wanted that every person should grasp the simple story. And when they become more intellectual, to grasp the deeper story, but never to go away from the simple story, never to go away from the verse. That's why if you learn Gemara, you'll see the beauty of the Gemara. The Gemara argue, the rabbis argue intellectually, they always go back to the verse. You always go back to the verse. It says, the Gemara says that the sages would always repeat the teachings of their teachers. They would always repeat the teachings of their teachers. That means even though they would go themselves, well, look at the Tanya itself. When we started Tanya, the Alter Rebbe said, these are all teachings of my teachers. Trust me, he gave a lot of his own intellect into this book. But he always said, this are the teachings of my teachers. We always go back to the verse. We always go back to the simple explanation. So this is a wonder. Look how the Alter Rebbe uses the Hebrew is much nicer. But let's look at the English. This is a wondrous union like which there is none other, in which has no parallel anywhere in the material world. The whole concept of Yiddishkeit is the concept of union. God is one. The concept of oneness, to become united with God, united with each other, Avas Yisrael, can unite spirituality and physicality. It's all about union. It's all about bringing two entities and bringing them together, whether it's bringing the spiritual and the physical, whether it's bringing two physical things together. It's all about union. but there really cannot be union in the world because two physical things cannot become one. So the mitzvah, for example, is a physical thing, and I put it on my hand. Ultimately, the tefillin is physical; it has its own space, and I put it on top of my hand. I can't put the tefillin in my hand. So I light the Shabbos candles. The candle has its identity, and I am the person I light it. I can't put the candle in my head. But here, the Eibishter gave a capability for two entities to be united in intellect. I can put it on. I can't put it in my hand. It's ultimately two different entities. The Shabbos candle is ultimately the candle's there, and I'm here. I can't take the candle and put it in my head. I'm going to get burned. So I cannot I cannot connect it. I cannot unite two things. I cannot unite. Yeah, but I cannot connect two physical things cannot come together. That's why the Torah also says, for example, that the Adam Yodas Chava, mentioned before in Tanya, that I know my wife. That's where unity is. So if the Torah says they should become one thing, a man should cleave to his wife and become one. It's not possible physically. It's impossible two physical entities to become one. It's not happening. It cannot. Can have das. Das. So, but the point is, basar echad is not going to happen. There's two flesh. That's why he said, what is the meaning of the verse? I become one. I become one in a child. So two people come together and create one child. So they have a child that is created through them, which is the ultimate, but ultimately the child becomes its own identity. So now the child becomes its own identity, its own person. And it sometimes says, have a good day. I don't want to see you. Right? That's another thing, right? But that's the way it is. There's no union in the world, but in the mind. So in the mind, where I become one with God's wisdom, that's a union that cannot be found anywhere. But in this union of my intellect becoming God's intellect, or God's intellect becoming my intellect, there I have a true union between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So even a mitzvah cannot accomplish this union. That's why it says Talmud Torah Keneged Kula. The learning of Torah is the union with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is becoming one with God that cannot become one with God anywhere but in through the learning of Torah. That's why we loved, even though we might think we love to learn Torah for different reasons, this is a real reason why Jews love the wisdom of Torah. They're willing to come to any class. They're willing to go to any lecture. They love unity. Why? Because their neshama cannot receive a greater unity with God but through the learning of Torah. And that's the beauty of learning Torah. Because it's the union with HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we cannot receive anywhere else. So hence the special superiority, infinitely great and wonderful, that is in the commandment of knowing the Torah. There's actually a command to know the Torah. It's a mitzvah. That's also the beauty of a Torah, because it's both a mitzvah and it's Torah. It's the wisdom of God. So the Torah itself has both the will of God, and that's why God begs the Jew to learn Torah. In Tanya, the Gemara says that when Jews don't learn Torah, God says, "You're embarrassing me. I've given you something that unites us in a unity that there's no place, any place in the world, and you're walking away from that unity. You're walking away from that connection. Why would a Jew walk away from a connection that there's no other connection?" And again, you might say, "Oh, I'm a simpleton. I'm not a great scholar." But you don't need to be a great scholar. Read the text.
Study of Torah.
That's it. That's it. So that's right. Read the Chumash. If you're a 5-year-old child, even if you're an adult, but you have the intellect of a 5-year-old child, so open the Chumash and read the Chumash. Keep on, you don't stop reading. That's it. Open up a Chumash, read the Chumash, my friends. Don't tell me what you used to. I need to know what you're doing today, not what you used to do. Open up the Chumash and read the Chumash. That's it. So that the commandment of knowing the Torah and comprehending it over all commandments involved in action, and even those relating to speech, and even the commandments of the study of Torah, which are fulfilled through speech. For through all the commandments involving speech and or action, the Holy One, blessed be He, clothes the soul and envelops it from head to toe with divine light. However, that's God surrounding you. However, with regard to knowledge of Torah, apart from the fact that the intellect is clothed within the divine wisdom, the divine wisdom is also contained in it to the extent that his intellect comprehends and grasps and encompasses as much as he is able to do of the knowledge of the Torah. Every man according to his intellect, his knowledge, capacity, and his comprehension of the garden, the Pardes, Pshat Remesh, just say the garden of the Torah. God gave us the ultimate gift that we can learn the Torah. We can comprehend the Torah. It's no secrets. There's nothing there. In the simple meaning of Pshat Remesh Drush, maybe the side, but surely in Pshat Remesh Drush, in the simple meaning, in the analogy of the Torah, in the Hamalitic part of Torah, beautiful learn the Medrash. Who would not want to learn the Midrash Torah? The Medrash of Torah, the rest of the story. It's beautiful. Today you can buy a Medrash in English.
Yes.
Everybody should learn the Medrash. Everybody should learn the Hamalitic part of Torah. It's going to give you a whole Medrash, the homiletic. Am I saying it right in English? The homiletic. Right? Everybody should learn the Medrash. The Medrash says, the book is written by the Art School. The Medrash says, go read it in English. Everything today is in English. All Gemara is in English. Everything is in English. Zohar is in English. Everything's in English. There's no excuses today not to simply open up a book and learn. Today you don't have a book. You can do it on the internet. Everything is out there. My friends, Pashit, Alter Rebbe in his times says these things that a majority of Jews didn't have books. They surely didn't have the internet. They didn't have books. They didn't even have books. Today, I mean, even they had books. Most of them were illiterate. Jews were not educated. They were totally illiterate. They couldn't even read the book. Even if they had a book, it was in Hebrew. Today, if you don't know Hebrew, it's in English. There's no excuse that a person should not push it, take his time instead of sitting and kvetching and complaining. Push it, take your time every day and learn some Torah. Learn the Torah, every person to their capacity. Nobody's asking you to become the next Abai and Rava. Nobody's asking you to become the next sage. That's not your obligation. Your obligation is simple. Open a Chumash. If that's your capability, open a Chumash. Learn Chumash and Rashi. Learn a Medrash. Learn a Gemara. Learn whatever your capacity is, because that's what God, that's a unity. That's the unity. Nobody's asking to a unity with God when you're on a different level. Every person on their level. Someone wanted to say something. Chavit, you wanted to say something? I'm sorry. Chavit, you wanted to say something? No, she led the way. Okay, so that's the beauty. That's what the Alter Rebbe just put down to you on a platter to explain to you the beauty of simply learning Torah. Nothing greater in the unity of God than to learn Torah with your knowledge. Not somebody else's knowledge, but your own knowledge. To open up a Chumash, learn it, expound upon it, give your own interpretation to it. Give your own interpretation to it 100%. And as long as you're learning the Torah, there's no limit. Today, everybody is writing a book. Write a book. Maybe somebody will buy it. Maybe somebody won't. Write a book. Learn Chumash. Write your own book. If everybody else can write a book, you can write a book. Everybody has a book on the interpretation of Torah. Everybody. Why shouldn't you have a book? Why not? Why not?
Have you written a book?
No, I'm talking to myself. But the Eibishter gave me I'm a rabbi, so I do a lot of. I'm not a good writing, but I do a lot of interpretations to the Torah and talks and speeches. So I do a lot of it. But you're right. I don't never wrote a book, but you should. Today, actually, you can write a book easily because today you can say a drasha and it'll be translated. It'll be written for you. So serious, the Rebbe did say that every student in yeshiva should write a commentary. Everyone.
Who writes the pamphlet every Shabbos? The parsha. The parsha's in the back.
It's taken out from Chabad.org.
So if everybody should write it,
today you copy and paste. It's very easy.
Everybody should write a book from you. We should certainly expect a book.
Okay. You got me. I'm going to start writing a book. Okay, you'll make you happy. I need a ghost writer. They only have a ghost. Because you're going to read my book. I can't spell. You're not going to understand. Not understand me when I speak English. You're going to understand me when I write English.
You're going to be on the plane for 12 hours. It's a time to begin.
Yeah, no question about it. Everybody should write a book. Everybody should I'm saying everybody should write a book for yourself. Even the Rebbe writes, it says a knei lecha chaver. The Mishnah says acquire a friend. Chaver also means a notebook. Everybody knei lecha chaver. Everybody should have a notebook, and they should write down their interpretations of the Torah. Right. Whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your children, whether it's with somebody else, write a book. And if the Rabbeim, the Alter Rebbe wrote to Tanya himself. Most of the other Rabbeim, including the Rebbe, didn't write anything besides letters. He did letters that are written or not written. He didn't write it. So people wrote for him. So either you get yourself what is the interpretation? What if your interpretation is wrong? So therefore, you should read. Somebody else should read the book before you print it. Have somebody read the book to make sure that. And let me tell you something. A lot of the books that are printed today, trust me, they're not great interpretations. They're not such great interpretations. Whatever, it's all beautiful, but there's nothing outstanding out there lately. It's being printed. But so write a book. Trust me. Even if for yourself, write a book on Torah. Write a book in the knowledge of Torah for yourself. And one day, someone might say, "Wow, this is amazing." Amazing stuff. I didn't know this. I never heard this before.
I'm sure if I wrote a book, everybody would say, I never heard this before.
You know what? What's wrong with that? That's beautiful. There's nothing wrong. Everybody should strive in the Torah and the knowledge of Torah, and they should try their best to I want to say that leaving to the Holy Land, I'll have everybody in mind. Somebody gave me a gift to go to the Holy Land. I'll have you in mind. We're not gonna. Yeah, so I'm not gonna be here next Sunday. So I'm gonna be in the Holy Land. So I want to wish you all a wonderful end of Hanukkah and a wonderful year, happy New Year for the secular New Year. And in Midshem, we'll see each other in a week. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful trip, Rabbi.